Here's a base design that will help you win raid defenses. If you want to see it in action, go and watch this video where I defended this base 5 times back to back. Now I'm no base builder and there's probably 100 ways you can make this base better. And the only reason I'm uploading this is because a lot of people asked for this base design. And so, here it is. Okay, for the base tour we start right here with our gatehouse, which is also sort of like a flank base where you can have a bed, a locker with kits, and 4 boxes where you can just put loot basically to spread out your loot, because usually these don't get raided. So if you want to keep your loot safe, put some in there. Then we come into here where we have turrets and large furnaces, and you can place boxes or whatever. We have these which lead up to the shooting floor, which is like a chute up to the shooting floor. So in a raid defense, if you need to get up to the shooting floor quickly, you can do that using these. But to get into the base, you go here. Into these, you have one on each of the 3 sides. Here you have another loot room so that you can spread out your loot. Here we have the inner peaks, which also have a bunch of boxes, its own oil refinery, and just a bunch of shit that you can use. Above this loot room, we have more boxes, and above here we have a locker room. So on each of the 3 sides we have 2 loot rooms, and so 8 large boxes, and also 3 bedrooms. And so if you're a trio, you can fit all your needs in here. I haven't placed down the door here, but it's gonna be a garage door. We'll get down to here, and here is where your TC is. The base is pretty cheap with upkeep, and let's keep going. So down there you don't really want to keep any loot. That's just for show. That's where you want people to blow, and because it doesn't really matter if they get TC or not. Then we come up here, and we have 1 jump up on each of the corners. And here is where your main loot is going to be. Now, even though this is your main loot, I would still spread out the loot across all the places, all the loot rooms and all the gatehouses and everything, because you don't want to keep all your eggs in one basket. But you have quite a few boxes up here where you can just store all your good shit, with a bed, the tier 3 workbench, and everything. Then here we have the shooting floor. These chutes up to the shooting floor can also be used as peaks. And then we get up to the roof. Here you have a peak, turret, and up here you have its own little room with a bed and a few more boxes to store loot and kits. If you watched my latest video, you know that I spawned here and I basically defended my base just using this bed. That's basically the base. I would also recommend just placing a bunch of beds just everywhere around the base, just so that you never really run out of respawns. But let's get into the build. Okay, so we are going to begin with the start base. I'm of course going to upgrade it to its final form, I guess immediately, but you would of course begin with stone. Put the TC right here, and then we're gonna do a little loot room right here. And you can also of course place a window there. This base isn't really a good starter base. I would just start out in another base, and then when you have the resources to build this base like basically completely, I would start building on this base, because it's not really that good of a starter base. But if you want to knock yourself out. Now, we're never really gonna keep a lot of loot down here. Like, this is just for when we start out, that we're gonna keep even any loot in here. So how you want to do this doesn't really matter, but in my video where I used it, I did like this. So instead of a ladder here, You're gonna want that. Also gonna want a garage door there. And of course a window there. Put 3 boxes right there. Like, you're not gonna wanna keep much loot in here, because this is where people are gonna raid you. Like, they're going to get to this if they're trying to raid you. Need to build a doorway like this. You can do this in stone, doesn't really matter. I'm doing it in how I would have it finalized. Now these inner peaks and the start of this base I got completely from another YouTuber, which I will leave linked in the description if you want to check him out. He has a ton of good builds, but I did some changes to this base and just expanded on the idea of the base, and I really like it. But this is basically how you do the inner peaks. Just want to go all the way around just like that, and boom, it should look like this. Then we're just going to close all this off with doors going there on all 3 sides, and continue walling off the entire peaks. We're also going to connect the outer shell to the core, which is, if you put a triangle right there, then you just place a door frame and the outer shell connects to the inner core. Just do that on all 3 sides. And when you're done, you should be left with these. Oh yeah, also these you need to take out. All of these, where the squares are. Take those out, and you're good. And before we do the inner peaks, you have to do these first. We just go like this, because if you don't do these first and you do those first, you're not going to be able to place here. And that's also why you want to make sure that you make these inner peaks stone. So there, if this somehow breaks, you want to make this metal so it doesn't break. But if it somehow breaks, at least this won't be too hard to pick out and fix. But yeah, you want to make these first. And after we've added these, we can do all the inner peaks. Just like that. Inner peaks are done. Then we're gonna do the jump up. You wanna have 1 on each side. So 3 of these basically. The door leading out. And then here on each of these corners, you wanna have a loot room. Because what I like to do in my bases is just have the loot as spread out as possible. So that even if you get offline raided, you're not gonna lose everything, and you're still gonna be able to put up much of a fight, and you're gonna be able to rebuild pretty easily. So just spread out your loot everywhere. Like, you're gonna have so many places where you can place loot, like it's gonna be insane. Just have ladder up, and just, you know, you can't place it like that direction, because then you can't get up. You have to place it either that way or that way, and then you can get up. Now under here, I didn't really know what to do with it when I built it, but you can have it another loot room, like whatever you want. But I would add yet another loot room, just more boxes, more space to store your loot. And then up here, just close the entire thing. Just close the entire thing off, and here is where we have our bedroom. So in each of these corners, you're gonna have your bedroom right there, right here. So you're gonna have 3 bedrooms. So if you're a solo, you have 3 spawn points. So even if they blow from this direction, you still have that locker room and that locker room. That way you will never not be able to get a kit. Or even if they take control of most of their base, they're not going to take control of every single one of these locker rooms. You can have kits in here and you can have spawn points, because something I've learned throughout all my raid defenses is that if you just have a shit ton of beds and lockers with kits, you can't really lose. Close this thing up. Also, something I forgot to tell you is that these parts you're going to want to metal up so that these don't break and then destroy this. So just keep those metal, but you do want to keep these stone. I would even upgrade these to metal, because in a perfect raid you want the raiders to go through this right here, because this is the easiest place for you to see it and it's nowhere near the loot, and they're gonna go through that and then you're just gonna go straight into there, or they're gonna go up here and then down. But anyways, they always end up here, which is what you want. You want the people to end up here and not check upstairs. So we have one of these locker rooms, then just do them on each of the corners. Then with these locker rooms, it's gonna look something like this. Then these will be the jump ups. One on each of the 3 sides, so 3 of these. And you can also section off the peaks, just to make it harder for the raiders to actually take control of your base. Then just close it off. And it's really important to make all of these armored. Place squares on each of these, like that. And then for the jump ups, just do something like this. Then for the main loot, just build the first big loot room. Your second main loot room. This is of course all gonna be armored when you're done. Everything. Here's your main loot room. Then just keep placing boxes everywhere. Just loot room of the loot room. You can make either a locker here, or you can, what I like to do is these small little loot rooms. They're pretty good. And then just close it off with a window. Those doors leading down, so people go through those doors instead of the garage doors. Making a rust base, I feel like, is all about where you want your enemies to hit. Where do you want the people to raid to? Where would you raid to? And if you checked my latest video, you saw that I got offline raided, but no one touched this loot room. I mean, I am saying this in a video, so it might not be as safe anymore, but just think about it. Spread your loot out and think, where would you hit? Knowing everything, where would you hit? And then don't have your loot there. Also inside of here, I place tier 3 workbench. You can place either a locker, I'm gonna place a repair bench, and a bed. Of course you can fit more stuff in here, but this is basically what you need. Then when it looks like this, we can start doing the compound, the wide gaps and shooting floor and everything basically. So for the wide gaps, you want to start where the squares are, then just go out like this. We do 1, 2, 3, triangle, delete everything back there, then do a half moon like that, a square, a triangle, and square on each side. That's your wide gaps. Then for the outer gate, you want to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 out, then to the side. I love these loot rooms or these gatehouses that I make. I've gotten a lot of questions why I make these gatehouses, but honestly, they're just amazing. Because as I said before, you want to split up your loot. And honestly, the best way of doing this is by having these. In here you have 4 boxes where you can store loot, spare workbenches for if you get raided and lose yours, and just everything you'll need to restart, because it's really rare for these to actually get raided. Usually they're good. 4 boxes like that. Then you can also fit a locker with some kits and a bed. And then when I title these beds, because you know I have so many beds, I just always name them gate, and then right here it's south, so I would just name it gate S for gate south. Then for the rest of the gate, just make like this. So basically these gates just works as its own little 2x1, like its own little flank base basically. Place that on top, and your gatehouse is done. Then just do 3 more of these, exactly the same way as before. Then with the gatehouses done, we have to do this before anything. We have to make these, a way up to the shooting floor. Very essential for a raid defense, so that even if they, which is insanely needed for a raid defense. And they look like this. So they also works as peek downs into the peaks, so that you can kind of see what's happening. But with these you have quick access up to the shooting floor. Just like that. Then just make those on each front door. And I would put the door facing away from that door, so it's not in the line of sight of the door. Then with all the shoots done, we can do the wide gaps, which is really simple. Just do that on each side. Really simple. And with the foundation of the wide gaps done, we can also do these, which is going to be turret pods, where you can keep turrets. So if you want to do turrets, you can do them like this, or however you want to do them. And you do 2 on each side of the gates. Also, by adding these, it will be much harder for people to shoot them out. Then just contact the turret pods. With your base, like that. And then when you've gotten down all 6 turret pods, we can finally do the compound around the base. Then, with the compound up, you're safe. At this point, you can start placing down large furnaces if you want, wherever you want. And we can start with the wide gaps. And just do the wide gaps like this. And the shooting floor. Also here, place half wall on each of these. And also close this off. And put a window on there. Put a door. Just make these each one. Then with that done, you can just place door frames to basically just close off the entire shooting floor. So it looks something like this. And place doors to section of the shooting floor. Leave these open. And here you're going to add a ladder hatch. At the beginning you can have the stairs, but you want to make these ladder hatches basically as quickly as possible. Because this is going to be your way up to the roof. Then do it like this. Close it off. Go like that. That. And boom, you have a little peek out to the roof. Do this on each of the sides. The triangle roofs. On each of the 3 sides, right here. And then just normal roofs. Okay, at this point your base is basically done. Of course you want to place windows around the entire thing. For the roof and for the electricity, I built my own little shit shack for that up here, which can't be accessible from anywhere else. Upgrade this bit to metal. And also, before I forget it, make sure that all of these are armored up. So that it's hard for people to go through this. So it's not just an easy top down, it's actually gonna be a few rockets to get into main loot. Up here you can have, like I had, which was a loot room. And of course also a bed. Then with this, the base is completely done. You have a few upgrades you can make. You can do the foundations to metal, but the base is basically finished. Then it's completely up to you, but I want electricity. And for that, just go up a bit. Like that basically. And you can fit 3 wind turbines on this base. So if you want a lot of turrets, you can have that. Then I'm no electrician when it comes to doing electricity in Rust. Like, I am not good. But this is if you want to know how I do my electricity, which is not perfect. I've gotten so many comments about how I could make my electricity more efficient, but I really don't give a fuck because it does the job. And I like to fit 2 batteries in here. I'm only gonna do 1 battery for this, but if you want to do another one, just copy what I'm doing right here and do it again. Let's see. Do 11 on all of the branches. Connect one of the root combiners with your wind turbine. Then place 2 solar panels, one facing east and one facing west. I don't know if this is the most efficient way of doing it, but again, it's how I do it. So connect both of the solar panels to the root combiner, combine the 2 root combiners, and take the power of that into your battery. And boom, you have power, and you can have 8 turrets. Now for the turrets, what I would do is either 2 turrets on roof or 1 turret on roof. If you just want to have 1 turret on roof, you can have the other one either on the shooting floor like this, protecting one of your ways into a main loot, or you can have it right here, protecting the peaks. But I'm just gonna put 2 turrets on roof. If you want to fit more in, you can just do another wind turbine. But the most important ones are down here in these turret pods. So you just do like that. Like that. With that, it's going to be very difficult for people to actually destroy the turrets. And you don't want to do like this, because if you do like this and someone does destroy your turret, you're not going to be able to get back inside. Fucking. Connect all the turrets using branches. And boom, you have 8 turrets protecting your base. And if you want to add another 8, just do the exact same thing. But with this, the base is basically done. Of course, you can still upgrade it. There's still a few things you can do. Add more wind turbines, add more turrets, add more large furnaces. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed this base. I'm gonna try and get through all my bases, so all the bases I've ever used, and tell me which one of my bases that I've used that you want me to do next, like maybe my own unraidable base or whatever. And yeah, I'll try and get that done.